General. Somehow, miraculously, I was alive. Some twist of fate, some hand of destiny, but I was alive. Strange as this new world was, I knew Toll must have come this way, and it was my task to find him. And it happened like this.
Маленький Орфей. Эпизод 6. Загадки Лемурии. Приветствую всех на канале Драконы Серебряной Луны. Меня зовут Андрей, и мы продолжаем проходить Маленький Орфей, и у нас пустыня внезапно. Так, невидимая стена, понял.
The sun beat down on me relentlessly. The heat was unbearable.
Я не понял, как мы сюда попали, ну ладно.
Yet I could not stop. I had to go on. For 7 weeks I trudged across the desert. On the second day...
Please, comrade, if we may. I think we can skip the details, unless you consider them to be particularly relevant to the location of Little Orpheus.
Of course, General. We will simply omit the tale of the singing chasm, the oasis of mirrors, the sightings of Toll's Mieng aloft on their pterodactyls carrying parts of my crashed rocket drill over the horizon to Lemuria.
Wait, the what?
Singing chasm?
Not that, but the rocket drill.
Oh yes, General, the rocket drill. But what did Toll want with it? And why Lemuria?
Lemuria?
Lemuria, General.
I am not familiar with this Lemuria, comrade.
Well, that is because it does not exist, General. Or at least, so I thought.
Бам! Все, мы упали. Пропустив большой кусок истории, мы упали. Очнулись уже в следующей части истории, видимо. В Лемурии, да? Ну, видимо, да. Вижу кнопочку. Знаменитые лемурские рычаги для колокола. Немного Dark Souls, да, пошло. Лемурский Dark Souls с колоками и прочим. Ладно, побежали. Успеем на этот круг? Отлично. Готово?
Those strange crystals seem to exert an extraordinary hold over the stone blocks and arches. When they hummed, the whole city remade itself. Where they were missing, clearly looted by some villainous thief, the city was fallen to ruin. It was like a vast musical instrument, vandalized, and yet still attempting to toot.
Так, допустим. Хорошо. Побежали. Нам видно в тот амфитеатр, да? Ну или дворец. В общем, нам туда. Так. Чиним город. Чиним Лемурию.
How poetic.
Угу.
I am sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really?
Ау!
How poetic.
Ага.
I am
Ладно,
sure our
поспешил.
engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal
Я
measure.
лучше тут подожду.
If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really?
Чё?
That is unfortunate news indeed.
I am
Очень-
joking, comrade.
Бежим! Бежим! Все, уходим. Отлично. О, птеродактили. Оба! Увернулись. Что здесь? Рубильник. Опять сломал, а? Иван Иванович, не ломайте, пожалуйста. Отлично, прорвались.
Oh yes, the Mank for here, all right. Which meant whatever dastardly scheme Toll had, it was to be enacted on these burning sands.
And you will explain this in due course, I imagine.
Eminently, General. What you need to know first is this. I have told you already how parts of the devices the enslaved Mienk were forced to wear came from the surface.
Radio parts and so on, yes, from what you have told me. Assuming there were plenty of lost ships in the ocean as you claim, for Toll to have dredged up what he needed to assemble them.
Aha, good. You are one step ahead of me, General.
I said assuming.
Of course. Assume.
Товарищ генерал-то внимательно слушает за историей.
At the buildings rising and falling around me, I realized that the other major component of those mind-controlling helmets
Оба!
was crystal.
Вернулись.
Toll had raided Lemuria for them. He knew the city. He knew the crystals could amplify vibrations and waves, and was using them to boost the signal of the radio parts to exert his control over the Memph. Which meant...
Погнали.
Yes?
Imagine, General, what such amplification could achieve when fused to the finest atomic science our great Soviet civilization has produced.
Wait. I do not understand. You said Toll was planning on using the bomb to shatter the Earth's crust to return to the surface.
A tragic mistake, General. They had not recognized the extent of his mad ambitions.
You mean to imply Toll would have attempted to enslave the Russian people? Bah! The will of the Soviet citizen is mighty and strong.
To you, perhaps, as a trained warrior, but consider, perhaps instead, a humble son of a toy maker from Tomsk.
Ah, yes. Perhaps we have our share of simpletons, after all.
Надо спасать. Все, идем спасать русский народ. Вперед. Отвернись. Отвернись. Так, давай. А, да? Круто. Прям супер круто. Уи! Как обычно, Иван Иванович все ломает. Но он обманул очередного Менква. Так, теперь давайте разбираться, что Толь-то задумал в итоге-то. Какой у него план?
The vast pictograms told of a history of wonders. They seem to suggest the Lemurians were travelers from another world, where a mysterious clock seemed to stand.
That is very mysterious. As mysterious as the location of little Orpheus, perhaps.
Yes, of course, General. I am just getting to that.
Окей, жители Лемурии из другого мира прибыли. Хорошо. Ну и где маленький Орфей? Давай. Показывай. Слышу еще товарищей в шлемах. Отвернись. Ты не отвернешься, да? Понял. Такого я ожидал, но не воспользуюсь своими ожиданиями. Ага. Готово. Преодолели еще двоих стражников. А тут...
As I bravely explored that ancient city,
О,
a
мы...
question was gnawing at my mind. What did it mean that the Lemurians had foreseen the coming of Tol? And who was the man from above that was celebrated as the savior of the Miengf? It was almost as if they could read the future in their crystals.
Понятненько. Но у нас нет шлема, так что это не мы, если что. Шлем мы выкинули. В подлодке.
The bells of Lemuria tolled and tolled, a roaring symphony, a crescendo of peals that set the city dancing, each note causing the crystals to shimmer and cascade with light. But the sandstorm was no natural phenomenon, and the bells did not ring for celebration. Something was very wrong here.
Aside from the pterodactyls and the Miengf and the dancing stones and the ancient magical prophecies and the crystals and now the giant bears, you mean?
Воу.
If you don't want me to
Вот это
continue,
было
I
неожиданно.
can easily just quietly go home.
Don't think Chepucho will get you out of this one, comrade.
Так. Оба! Второй птеродактилю вернулись. Третий пошел на заход. Оп! От третьего вернулись. Но я думаю, все. Ну, может быть, еще четвертый прилетит, но вряд ли. Где маленький Орфей? Мне уже самому интересно, потому что... Ага. Я понял. Я понял. Бежим! Бежим! Все, уходим, уходим, уходим отсюда, от этих крутящихся колоколов. Повезло, что на них были трещины.
I raced through those magical structures, a righteous fire in my heart. I was like Dobrynya Nikitich, prepared
Как
to
Добрыня
strike at the
Никитич.
dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
On the contrary, General, I chose Dobrynya carefully. Like him, I am a simple peasant. It was fate that chose me to descend to the Earth's core.
It was General Kumanin who chose you to descend to the Earth's core. But don't let that get in the way of your story.
Oh, well then, award General Polkovnik Kamanin the highest medal in the world.
He already has several of those.
I cannot take credit for his wisdom in sending me.
Так, погнали. Не надо. Пошли вон, птеродактили. Пафосенько, пафосенько. Еще один заход. Как колокола звенят, а? Добрались. Ну все, держись. Сейчас мы остановим тебя, Толь. Или Тол. Как правильно, где ударение ставить? О, маленький Орфей.
Was once a rocket drill ship, built to burrow into the earth, was now a mighty vessel, repurposed to blast off into the skies.
Окей. Вперед! Оп, хорошо. Вперед.
There was no doubt that Toll was headed for the strange world with its clock, although to what end I was yet to understand. But there was no time to consider, no time for questions.
Я не прыгнул. Ну, бывает, ладно. Не было времени на раздумья. Хорошо.
Toll was on the rocket. Little Orpheus was on the rocket. And wherever they were headed, I must head there too, to thwart his plans, recover my drill, and save the world!
Откуда звезды, напомните-ка? Ага. Не удержались мы на ракете. Бывает.
Enthusiastic yet disorientated hero be burnt to a cinder by the rocket's engines? Will he be smashed into the rock that surely must be beyond the Lemurian skies? Does Nikolai Petrovich Kamanin really need any more medals? What was the strange clock, and what could it all mean? All of these questions and more will be answered, if you're extremely lucky, in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus.
Такие вот дела. Что ж, отправляемся в другой мир, я так понимаю, если, конечно, наш герой выживет. А он всегда выживает, да. Это было интересно, но подводный мне понравился побольше все-таки уровень. В любом случае, всем спасибо за просмотр. Увидимся в следующей серии. А на сегодня все. Всем пока.